I have this sweet old dog, and he has a touch of separation anxiety. I was thinking about that this morning, and I remembered years ago, I had a side gig cooking food for a daycare. There's this thing that happened where all of these young parents, especially new parents, would bring their kid in, usually in the morning, and the kid didn't want the parents to leave. And the parents want to be good parents, care very much about their kids' feelings, and they would linger. And then that moment would stretch on and on and on. And even I knew then that if the parents want to care about how the kid feels, they need to leave. Don't stretch that moment out. Just get out of there. There are other people around who can help your kid deal with your feelings once you're gone. And the reality is, 2 to 5 minutes later, your kid's going to be just fine. But it can never be 2 to 5 minutes later until you get out of there first. And so sticking around, worrying about how your kid feels in the moment, isn't going to help. It's actually going to make things worse. And I realized this morning that's not the first time I've seen that pattern show up. I used to have a different job cooking food in a retirement home, and I'd have to get up really, really early in the morning to get there, to start breakfast and all that. And I'm not a morning person. So when the alarm clock would start shouting at me that it's time, and I woke up, I knew that I had to force my body up out of bed right away. I have to do it. So there's no point in considering how I feel in that moment. Because if I consider how I feel, I have to reckon with the reality that nothing in me wants to do this. It's still necessary. And the rational part of me needs to choose that no matter how much I don't want it. And so entertaining my feelings in that moment just isn't going to be productive. It's not going to help. My feelings don't need to be coddled in those times. They need to be overcome. Being in touch with my feelings can be helpful for a lot of things. But when they aren't going to be constructive, they have to be overcome. And I think that pattern still holds true now for all kinds of activities and practices and behaviors that are good for me, but I don't necessarily want to do. Or at the very least, I have a lot of resistance to doing them beforehand, even if I'll enjoy it fine in the meantime. I enjoy going for walks in nature with the person I share life with, but I don't enjoy it quite the way she does when she says, I would love to go out and do something. My immediate gut response is, no, why would I want to do that? I have other things to do here. And that gut response isn't going to lead to constructive behavior. It's not going to lead to me thriving. It's trying to protect me, but it's wrong. Right? And our gut responses, our feelings, in so many ways are trying to protect us. But they aren't always right. And if you already know, going into the moment, that your guts, your heart, are going to respond in ways that aren't going to be constructive, then you can't even let them speak. You can't even entertain what they tell you because you already know it's not true. There are times when we have to stick with what we know is true, regardless of how our lower parts react. And you know what? It is rare that I overcome those feelings and act that I regret it. Almost every time I end up enjoying myself, or realize that everything is fine just like I knew it would be, despite how I felt, despite how my guts responded. Maybe this has very little to do with separation anxiety itself, but this pattern of lingering in the emotions and thinking about it and hoping we can find all the right motivators and get our heart in the right place first and all that, Yeah, there might be times for that. But there are certainly times when that will only prevent you from doing what you need to do. There are times when engaging that will only trip you up. And so, an important step in discernment and in maturity and growth is recognizing, when is it going to trip you up? When do you engage? When do you refuse to engage? So yeah, that's my thought for the day. I'm really interested in what